This is 9.4, factoring to solve quadratic equations. There's going to be 3 examples that would go into your notes. And here is example number 1. Because of the zero property, what we can do is set up our equations to solve for the letter t in this problem. And here's the first equation. What I do is I take my hand and I cover up the t minus 2, and that will leave me with 4t plus 1 equals 0. That's the first equation. Our second equation, after you cover up the 4t plus 1, would be t minus 2 equals 0. The first equation, if you solve for t, you subtract 1. Divide by 4. And t equals negative 1/4. On the second part here, we add 2. And my 2 solutions of the problem are t equals negative 1/4 and t equals 2. What that means, if you graph this quadratic, the zeros or the intercepts, the x-intercepts, or the solutions are negative 1/4 and 2. All right, now this is really the type of problem that we need to do. Now, you notice how it says solve by factoring on the top part here. There's different ways of solving, and later on in the chapter, we'll find out what those are, completing the square and the quadratic formula. But if you're just going to factor, make sure everything is to one side of the equation toward the x squared. Now you can set up your table like we've done in the past. My AC number on this problem is 15. Factors of 15 are like 3 and 5. And when you add up 3 and 5, you do get 8. When you factor stuff out from the top down, you get x, 5, x, and 3. And then what we want to do is we want to set them up as x plus 5, x plus 3. Set that equal to 0. And now, just like the previous problem, we want to separate them so we can solve for 2 answers. My first equation is x plus 5 equals 0. And over here, I'll go x plus 3 equals 0. Minus 5 from both sides. Minus 3 from both sides. And I got my 2 answers. When you do a problem like letter D, it's done a little bit different here. You notice that you have c squared equals 5. What you want to do is you want to just take the square root of both sides. So it's a little bit different with this one here, just in case it pops up on the homework. The opposite of squaring something is square root, so your answer for this one would be c equals, you put a plus or minus in front of it, square root of 5. Right, and here's the last one that goes into your notes here. This is another main one. Like I said before, move everything toward the x squared, so get everything on one side of the equation. And it would be a negative 18 when you move it to the other side. Set that equal to 0. Still set up your table. And again, we're factoring. We're finding the solutions, but we're doing that by factoring. My AC number is 4 times negative 18, or negative 72. Factors of negative 72 that work are 3 times negative 24. From the top down, factor on x, negative 6, 4x, and a 3. Just like before, set up your equation. Now that you have it set up, separate your two equations. Move the 6 over by using addition. This one's a little harder. If you have a coefficient in front of x, it's a two-step problem. So we subtract 3 as our first step. Then we also have to divide by 4. Okay, so we have our two solutions, and we solved these problems by using factoring.